Sofia is the capital and largest city of Bulgaria. Sofia is the 15th largest city in the European Union with population of more than 1.2 million people. The city is located at the foot of Vitosha mountain in the western part of the country, within less than 50 kilometers drive from the Serbian border. Its location in the center of the Balkan Peninsula means that it is the midway between the Black Sea and the Adriatic Sea, whereas the Aegean Sea is the closest to it. Sofia has been an area of human habitation since at least 7000 BCE. Many of the major universities, cultural institutions and commercial companies of Bulgaria are concentrated in Sofia. Sofia is one of the top 10 best places for startup business in the world, especially in IT technologies. Sofia is Europe's most affordable capital to visit as of 2013. Update. Names. For the longest time the city possessed a Thracian name derived from the tribe Serda, who were either of Thracian, Celtic, or mixed Thracian-Celtic origin. The Serda and the name of Emperor Marcus Ulpius Traianus prompted the Romans to give the city the combinative name of Ulpia Serdica. Ulpia is derived from an Umbrian cognate of the Latin word lupus, meaning wolf. It seems that the first written mention of Serdica was made during his reign and the last mention was in the 19th century in a Bulgarian text. During the Romans Civitas Sardiniceum was mentioned, the brightest city of the Serda, in official inscriptions. The city was major throughout the past ever since antiquity, when Roman Emperor Constantine the Great referred to it as my Rome, and it nearly became his capital. Other names given to Sofia, such as Serdimpolis and Triadice, were mentioned by Byzantine Greek sources or coins. The Slavic name Sirides, which is related to middle and to the city's earliest name, first appeared on paper in an 11th century text. The city was called Atralissa by the Arab traveller Idrisi and Streliza, Stralitse or Stralipjan by the Crusaders. The name Sofia comes from the St. Sophia Church, as opposed to the prevailing Slavic etymology among Bulgarian cities and towns. It is ultimately derived from the Egyptian Kemetic word sba, meaning star, door, teaching and wisdom, and attested first in the 20th century BC in the tomb of Intif I. This was a tradition of collection of wise literature, shared between Mediterranean cultures, which was called Sophia in Greek. The earliest works where this latest name is registered are the duplicate of the Gospel of Serdica, in a dialogue between two salesmen from Dubrovnik around 1359. In the 14th century Vitosha Charter of Bulgarians are Ivan Shishman and in a Ragusan merchant's notes of 1376. In these documents the city is called Sofia, but at the same time the region and the city's inhabitants are still called Suradechesky, which continued until the 20th century. The city became somehow popular to the Ottomans by the name Solia. In 1879 there was a dispute about what the name of the new Bulgarian capital should be, when the citizens created a committee of famous people, insisting for the Slavic name. Gradually, a compromise arose, officialization of Sofia for the nationwide institutions, while legitimating the title Sirides for the administrative and church institutions, before the latter was abandoned through the years. The city's name is pronounced by Bulgarians with a stress on the O, in contrast with the tendency of foreigners to place the stress on I. The female given name of Sofia is pronounced by Bulgarians with a stress on the I. Geography. Sofia has an area of 492 square kilometers, while Sofia City Province has an area of 1,344 square kilometers. Sofia's development as a significant settlement owes much to its central position in the Balkans. It is situated in western Bulgaria, at the northern foot of the Vitosha mountain, in the Sofia Valley that is surrounded by the Balkan Mountains to the north. The valley has an average altitude of 550 meters. Unlike most European capitals, Sofia does not have any large rivers or bridges, but is surrounded by comparatively high mountains on all sides. 3 mountain passes lead to the city, which have been key roads since antiquity, Vitosha being the watershed between Black and Aegean seas. A number of low rivers cross the city, including the Vladayska and the Perlovska. The Iska River in its upper course flows near eastern Sofia. The city is known for its 49 mineral and thermal springs. Artificial and dam lakes were built in the 20th century. The 1818 Sofia earthquake was a 6.0 to 7.2 Medvedev-Sponhua volcanic scale earthquake. The 1858 earthquake was an 6.6 same scale earthquake, though reaching up to 10 in parts such as Boyana. This was followed by a 7.8 MSK Sofia earthquake in 1917 and finally by the 2012 Pernik earthquake, which was a 5.6 MW magnitude earthquake. The 2014 Aegean Sea earthquake was also noticed in the city. A problem of air pollution of Sofia is its location in the Sofia Valley, which is surrounded by mountains on the sides, and this reduces the ability of the air to self-clean. The air is polluted mostly by particulate matters and nitrogen oxides. Sofia is the capital with most polluted air in the EU. Climate: Sofia has a humid continental climate with an average annual temperature of 10.6 degrees Celsius. Winters are cold and snowy. In the coldest days, temperatures can drop below -15 degrees Celsius, most notably in January. The lowest recorded temperature is -28.3 degrees Celsius. Fog is not unusual, especially in the beginning of the season. On average, Sofia receives a total snowfall of 99 centimeters in 60 days with snow cover. The snowiest recorded winter was 1939-1940 with a total snowfall of 198 centimeters. The record snow depth is 57 centimeters. Summers are warm and sunny. In summer, the city generally remains slightly cooler than other parts of Bulgaria, due to its higher altitude. However, the city is also subjected to heat waves with high temperatures reaching or exceeding 35 degrees Celsius in the hottest days, particularly in July and August. The highest recorded temperature is 41 degrees Celsius. The hottest recorded summer was in 2012 with a daily average July temperature of 24.8 degrees Celsius. Springs and autumns in Sofia are relatively short with variable and dynamic weather. The city receives an average precipitation of 581.8 mm a year, reaching its peak in late spring and early summer when thunderstorms are not uncommon. The wettest recorded year was 2014 with a total precipitation of 1,066.6 mm. History. Prehistory and antiquity: Sofia has been an area of continuous human habitation since at least the 8th millennium BC, but others have inhabited the area 30,000 years ago. The city has a history of nearly 7,000 years and it is the second oldest city in Europe according to the city's official website and other sources. Though the meaning of the claim is unclear, as in the world there were hardly any cities at the time. In the context, certainly the Neolithic village in Slatna, dating to the 5th-6th millennium BC, is described. However, the motto of the city is, "Grows but does not age." Remains from another Neolithic settlement around the National Art Gallery are traced to the 3rd-4th millennium BC, which has been the traditional center of the city ever since and is not changed today. The earliest tribes who settled were the Thracians. According to some sources, it got first an official mention in the 7th-8th century BCE when the Surda as a Thracian tribe established a settlement. Other sources suppose that the Surdi's Celtic origin is convincingly evidenced through linguistic and archaeological clues, but that their presence is not evidence before the 1st century BC, whereas others assume their mixed Thracian Celtic origin or relation to the Sards. The earliest evidence of Celtic presence in the Sofia area can be from the 3rd century BC. Some clues lead to the conclusion that the area of the settlement was between Tzum, Sheraton Hotel and the Presidency. In the 500s BC, the area became part of a Thracian tribal union, called the Odrysian Kingdom, when another Thracian tribe appeared in the town, the Odryses. For a short period the Thracian rule was possibly interrupted by the Achaemenid Empire. In 339 BC Philip II of Macedon destroyed and ravaged the town, which was its first time. Around BC 29, Serdica was conquered by the Romans, gradually becoming the most important Roman city of the region. It became a municipium during the reign of Emperor Trajan. Serdica expanded, as turrets, protective walls, public baths, administrative and cult buildings, a civic basilica, an amphitheatre, a circus, the city council, a large forum, a big circus, etc. were built. Serdica was a significant midway city on the Roman road via Militaris, connecting Singidunum and Byzantium. In the 3rd century, it became the capital of Dacia Aureliana, and when Emperor Diocletian divided the province of Dacia Aureliana into Dacia Ripensis and Dacia Mediterranea, Serdica became the capital of the latter. Serdica's citizens of Thracian descent were referred to as Illyrians, probably because it was at some time the capital of Eastern Illyria. For future emperor, Serdica was their residence form where they ruled Rome. Roman emperors Aurelian and Galerius were from Serdica. The city subsequently expanded for a century and a half. It became a significant political and economical center. More so, it became one of the first Roman cities where Christianity was recognized as an official religion. The Edict of Toleration by Galerius was issued in 311 in Serdica by the Roman Emperor Galerius, officially ending the Diocletianic persecution of Christianity. The edict implicitly granted Christianity the status of religia licita, a worship recognized and accepted by the Roman Empire. It was the first edict legalizing Christianity, preceding the Edict of Milan by 2 years. For Constantine the Great it was Sardica mea Roma est. He considered making Serdica the capital of the Byzantine Empire instead of Constantinople, which was already not dissimilar to a tetrarchic capital of the Roman Empire. In 343 AD, the Council of Sardica was held in the city, in a church located where the current 6th century Church of St. Sophia was later built. The city was destroyed in the 447 invasion of the Huns and the city laid in ruins for a century. It was rebuilt by Byzantine Emperor Justinian I. During the reign of Justinian it flourished, being surrounded with great fortress walls whose remnants can still be seen today. Middle Ages, Renaissance and early modern history. The city first became part of the First Bulgarian Empire during the reign of Khan Krum in 809. After a long siege, after Ardis, it grew into an important fortress and administrative center when Khan Omerta made it a center of Suradez province. After the conquest of the Bulgarian capital Preslav by Sviatoslav I of Kiev and John I Zamiska's armies in 970–971, the Bulgarian Patriarch Damian chose Sofia for his seat in the next year, and the capital of Bulgaria was first moved to Suradez. In the second half of 10th century the city was ruled by Comet Nicola and his sons, popular as Komitopoli. One of them is Samuil, who became an emperor of Bulgaria in 997. After a number of unsuccessful sieges, the city fell to the Byzantine Empire in 1018, but once again was incorporated into the restored Bulgarian Empire at the time of Tsar Ivan Aseni. In 1382, Sofia was seized by the Ottoman Empire in the course of the Bulgarian-Ottoman Wars after a long siege. Around 1393 it became the seat of newly established Sanjak of Sofia. The city was occupied by Hungarian forces for a short time in 1443. After the failed crusade of Vladislav III of Poland in 1443 towards Sofia, the city's Christian elite was annihilated and the city became the capital of the Ottoman province of Rumelia for more than 4 centuries. In the 16th century, Sofia's urban layout and appearance began to exhibit a clear Ottoman style. There were fountains, hammams, prominent churches such as St. Sophia were converted into mosques, and in total there were 11 big and over 100 small mosques by the 17th century, of which only the Banyabashi remains as a mosque today. During that time the town had a population of around 7,000. The town was seized for several weeks by Bulgarian Hajduks in 1599. In 1610 the Vatican established the See of Sofia for Catholics of Rumelia, which existed until 1715 when most Catholics had emigrated. The town was the center of Sofia Eyalet. 4. Nedelya Petkova created the first Bulgarian school for women in the city. The Ottomans hanged in Sofia the most honored Bulgarian revolutionary of all time, Levski, in 1873. Modern and contemporary history. During the Russo-Turkish War of 1877–78, Suleiman Pasha was going to burn the city, unless the foreign councils Leandre Legge, Vito Positano, Rabbi Gabriel Almosnino and Joseph Valdut interceded for the salvation of the city. However, this salvation did not apply to the Bulgarian citizens who face executions. Sofia was taken by Russian forces on January 4, 1878. It was proposed as a capital by Marin Dranov and was accepted as such on 3 April 1879. By the time of its liberation, the population of the city was 11,649. For a few decades after the liberation, the city experienced large population growth, mainly from other regions of the country. In 1900, the first electric bulb in the city was turned on. In the Second Balkan War, Bulgaria was warring alone against 5 neighboring countries, and the Romanian army entered Vrajdibna in 1913. Then a village 7 miles from Sofia, now a suburb, which prompted Bulgaria to capitulate. In the following wars, Sofia was invaded by an at least nominally peaceful Soviet Red Army and was bombed by Allied US and UK aircraft in late 1943 and early 1944. Then 40,000 editions of books were destroyed along with the Capitol Library and 12,656 more buildings. Additionally, over 2,000 people died. In 1925, a terrorist act of ultra-leftists failed their attempted assassination of the king, but resulted in the destruction of a church and many victims. It took 20 years to 1945 when the Communist Fatherland Front took power and executed several thousand people. The transformations of Bulgaria into the People's Republic of Bulgaria in 1946 and into the Republic of Bulgaria in 1990 marked significant changes in the city's appearance. The population of Sofia expanded rapidly due to migration from the country. Whole new residential areas were built in the outskirts of the city, like Druzhba, Miladost and Lylan. The Georgy Dimitrov Mausoleum, where Dimitrov's body had been preserved in a similar way to the Lenin Mausoleum, was detonated in 1999. Cityscape. In Sofia there are 607,473 dwellings and 101,696 buildings. According to modern records, 39,551 dwellings were constructed until 1949, 119,943 between 1950 and 1969, 287,191 between 1970 and 1989. 57,916 in the 90s and 102,623 between 2000 and 2011. Until 1949, 13,114 buildings were constructed and between 10,000–20,000 in each following decade. Sofia's architecture combines a wide range of architectural styles, some of which are aesthetically incompatible. These vary from Christian Roman architecture and medieval Bulgar fortresses to neoclassicism and prefabricated socialist-era apartment blocks. A number of ancient Roman, Byzantine and medieval Bulgarian buildings are preserved in the center of the city. These include the 4th-century rotunda of St. George, the walls of the Serdica fortress and the partially preserved amphitheatre of Serdica. After the Liberation War, Knyaz Alexander Batenburn invited architects from Austria-Hungary to shape the new capital's architectural appearance. Among the architects invited to work in Bulgaria were Friedrich Grunanger, Adolf Vaclav Koller, and Victor Rumpelmayer, who designed the most important public buildings needed by the newly re-established Bulgarian government, as well as numerous houses for the country's elite. Later, many foreign-educated Bulgarian architects also contributed. The architecture of Sofia's center is thus a combination of neo-Baroque, neo-Rococo, neo-Renaissance and neoclassicism, with the Vienna Secession also later playing an important part, but it is mostly typically Central European. After World War II and the establishment of a communist government in Bulgaria in 1944, the architectural style was substantially altered. Stalinist Gothic public buildings emerged in the center, notably the spacious government complex around the Largo Vasil-Levski Stadium, the Cyril and Methodius National Library and others. As the city grew outwards, the then new neighborhoods were dominated by many concrete tower blocks, prefabricated panel apartment buildings and examples of brutalist architecture. They still make Sofia's housing very high compared to post-Western Bloc countries. After the abolition of communism in 1989, Sofia witnessed the construction of whole business districts and neighborhoods, as well as modern skyscraper-like glass-fronted office buildings, but also top-class residential neighborhoods. The 126-meter Capital Fort Business Center will be the first skyscraper in Bulgaria, with 36 floors. However, the end of the old administration and centrally planned system also paved the way for chaotic and unrestrained construction, which continues today. Architectural styles in Sofia. The 3rd century street, George Rotunda behind some remains of Serdica. Housing in Mladost. Stalinist architecture. Interior of the ancient St. Sofia Church. The central, Sofia Market Hall. Hotel Rodina, an example of brutalist architecture. Business Park Sofia. Neo-Gothic architecture in Sofia. Baroque architecture in Sofia. The National Gallery for Foreign Art. Green areas. The city has an extensive green belt. Some of the neighborhoods constructed after 2000, which are densely built up, often lack green spaces. There are 4 principal parks: Borisova Gradina in the city center and the southern, western and northern parks. Several smaller parks, among which the City Garden and the Doctor's Garden, are located in central Sofia. The Vitosha Nature Park includes most of Vitosha Mountain and covers an area of 266 square kilometers, with roughly half of it lying within the municipality of Sofia. Vitosha Mountain is a popular hiking destination due to its proximity and ease of access via car and public transport. 2 functioning cable cars provide year-long access from the outskirts of the city. The mountain offers favorable skiing conditions during the winter when multiple ski slopes of various difficulty are made available. Access to the ski slopes is regulated. They are maintained daily and health and safety personnel is available to assist in case of injury. Skiing passes typically allow unlimited access to the ski slopes, cable cars and other transport facilities. Skiing equipment can be rented and skiing lessons are available.